decision for Cole to make.
This is going to hurt.
We've handed it to him. Cole Gibbons, this is going to make for one hell of a YouTube video after as well.
So guys, here we are. We're going to be talking about the night of the 10,000 meter PBs. You guys seem to enjoy the preview where I sat with the track behind me. So the natural progression, of course, is to come and sit at the beach. I've stolen a chair from the local cafe. Just kidding. They did give me permission to use this chair because I left mine at home. But yeah, so I'm here holding this weird snowball microphone and we're going to have a little conversation. There's a bird coming very close to me. We're going to have a conversation about the night of the 10k PBs, how I felt going into the race, some decisions I made during the race, my thoughts and feelings post-race, and yeah, also some response to some of the comments from the commentators.
It's not a stitch from taking water on the second lap, is it?
So sit back, relax. I hope you enjoy this talky video with the scenic Tankerton seafront behind me. And yeah, let's get into this. The night of 10k PBs. The deep. So guys, the week leading up to the race, I have to say, I felt really confident as I've ever felt going into a race. But at the start of that taper, so the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, runs didn't feel as easy as I thought they would. The fact that I'd reduced my mileage by 30 to 40%, I was expecting to feel really fresh. And during a kind of a taper session on the Tuesday that I did with Ellis Cross, he was absolutely flying, and I felt like I was not moving as smoothly as I would have liked. Obviously, I'm not expecting to keep up with him 100%, but he had a 1200 meter rep and I only did 800 meters of it, and I was cooked at the end. I know he's absolutely moving, but to do 2/3 of a rep, I expected to feel a little bit more smooth than I did. And I have to say that those first 3 days of the taper, legs were not feeling fresh, not feeling recharged at all. And I did start to get a little bit apprehensive. But then Thursday was the main turning point for me. I ran home from a lecture after a uni lecture, and the legs just, it felt like something had snapped overnight. Like the recharge had fully happened. The legs felt super fresh, and that was a real mental turning point for me. It's kind of almost like deflecting the lack of confidence that I'd had from the days before, and then suddenly I was in race mode after that run on Thursday. It's like something really kicked in there. And then Friday, the day before, I did my easy run in my strides, and the legs were feeling really good to go. I think I ran at about 6:10, 6:20 minute miling, which some people would say is probably a little bit too quick for a 5 mile run the day before the race, but for me, that only boosted my confidence. And I think I'm a runner who runs well on confidence. I would rather be 100% confidence, but 90% fresh, than say 90% confident and 100% fresh. I feel like I always benefit from that added confidence. So going into race day, I did actually feel really confident. I can't put it down to any psychological weakness at all going into the race day. I thought maybe I might have crumbled after the way the start of the week went, but things seemed to kind of fall into my lap a little bit towards the end of the week. So yeah, going into race day, I was feeling very confident and fresh and recharged. Basically, sleep had been as good as it could ever be for me, really, getting a good solid kind of 7 hours a night, which is a lot for me, really. I don't really tend to sleep that great. I can't really come up with any excuses because obviously I ran really well. But there's no excuses that I could have come up with had anything gone badly, really. So moving on to the day of the race, everything was running really smoothly. I did some massages in the morning just to take my mind off of the race. It's quite physical on my hands, but it's not something that's going to knacker me out in terms of maybe feeling a bit tired for the race. And then we travelled up to London. The journey was really smooth. I had my nutrition on point. I had my simple carbs, my peanut butter and jam sandwich, had my electrolytes. Everything was going really well. I then warmed up. I felt smooth. Going through my drills, felt really comfortable. And you know what? Confidence was absolutely brimming. It was through the roof for me, which is, I don't think I've ever felt as confident as I did going into that race. Which is, you know, it's a great feeling to have. And I think confidence is one of these things that it just kind of builds and builds and builds. And for someone who's been lacking a lot of confidence in previous races, it was just, it was really nice, actually. It was really surreal to have that kind of that deep confidence rather than that kind of peripheral layer of like pretending to be confident, but having the actual like deep inner belief that I was going to run really well. It was just really comforting, actually. But then just like 5 minutes before the start line, I suddenly got this really dry throat, whether it's from just the heat on the day or just you know, getting a bit nervous, getting a bit of a dry throat. And these two ladies were helping set up some sort of timing or something, and they had a bottle of water there. And I pleaded with them. I was like, do you mind if I have some of that water? Because like I've got such a dry throat. I'm about to run 25 laps of this like synthetic oval. Do you mind if I have some of that water? And they were a little bit apprehensive, actually. I don't think they really wanted me to have any of their water, which is, you know, but they did give in. So yeah, I had some of that water. It did help to just, you know, lube up my throat a little bit. for want of a better phrase. And yeah, that's why I did, after 2 laps, then dip out to the side of the track to get a drink. There is a drinks table there. They had bottles of water and then also cups. And I thought that in the cups would also be water, but it turned out to be Morton drink mix, which I'm not against. But I grabbed it and kind of splashed it over my face like it was water. So I drank some, and it like spilled everywhere, went all over my hands, and it did turn out to be Morton drink mix, which left me feeling a little bit sticky, left me with sticky fingers. But yeah, that's just the way things go, I guess. And maybe I could have done a little bit more research. But yeah, so to James Thee, who was on the mic, saying that I was playing psychological warfare with my opponents there.
You know, what is the psychology of doing that? And bit of psychology going on. Jakob did it in a 5,000 meter world final.
That was not the intention at all. It was literally just because I had a dry throat. It was a warm day. Nerves were kicking in, and I just wanted something to know, just help the breathing. I find that when you get a dry throat, it can really hinder that breathing. It leaves you kind of feeling like sticky and wheezy, and feels like breathing is not as easy. So I just wanted something to help soften the throat a little bit and rehydrate, I guess. And it just so happened to be Morton drink mix rather than water. So in an ideal world, would have been water. But I went for the cup rather than the bottle, and I guess that was a mistake I made, really. So moving through the race, I have to say I really started off easy this year. Last year, I started pretty much the same pace as I did this year. But last year, I decided to try and pick up the pace instantly on lap 2. I didn't do that this year, which is obviously a massive turning point or a massive improvement. And I really just kind of sat in for the first few laps, let everyone else do all the work. I sat in kind of the middle of the pack, which is why another reason why it wasn't psychological warfare, it is because I was in the middle of the pack. Like, the only people that were going to see me grabbing a drink were the people behind me. So yeah, so I sat in, let the pacers do their job, let the wave lights do their job, and let the guys in front of me do their job, I guess, and just sat in. So this is going to be a bold statement, but I would say that I've never got to 6k, so over halfway of any race, feeling as confident or as comfortable as I did in that race. I felt like I was absolutely jogging at kind of 64-second laps, which was only helping the confidence. So then when we kind of got towards that halfway point, moving through to 5.5k, and people were starting to drop off, and one of the pacers dipped out at halfway. The confidence was growing, I have to say, and I did start to think about whether I should think about taking this on or starting to push the pace. And then things were kind of, I guess I made a decision, but at the same time, they were kind of forced upon me to make a decision. If I wanted to run a quick time, I needed to go with that wave light and I needed to go with that pacer, because there was no guarantee that the guys that I was running with were going to hold the pace. And I'd like to hope that maybe I'm the reason that those guys ran as quick as they did, because they were chasing me down. So yeah, so at 6k, I did make a very bold decision, which for me is very uncommon. It's unlike me to decide to front run. I'm not a natural front runner at all. I do like to sit and kick, if you like. So with 4k to go, I think it's about 11-12 laps to go. I went past my friend Thomas Wright and did take on the lead and started to close the gap on the pacer, who had actually created a bit of a gap on the rest of the field. And at that point, no one came with me, and I was feeling so comfortable. So I just rolled with it. After 200 meters, I did have a little bit of self-doubt about, wait, should I have gone? Have I kind of misjudged this? Should I be letting people catch me back up and so they can share some of the work? But I just thought, all of that energy I've wasted to get that 20-meter gap on the rest of the field, I need to just hold it. I need to carry on, keep building, and see how big I can grow that gap, essentially. Because I knew that the last couple of laps were going to be difficult, regardless of where I was in the field. So yeah, there was a lot of emotions and a lot of thoughts going through my head, a little bit of cognitive dissonance for all of you psychologists out there, going through my brain, where I was just like conflicted about, should I carry on? Should I stay? Should I let them catch me back up? And I think in the grand scheme of things, I made the right decision. Obviously, it didn't pan out, but I guess that's the way things work. I tried to push the pace. I went out on my own. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that. Took on the race, really kind of took the ball by its horns, I guess is the phrase I'm looking for there. Rolled the dice, and yeah, it didn't pay off in the grand scheme of things in terms of winning the race, but it definitely paid off in the grand scheme of things with regards to time. So naturally, as the race progressed and the lap counter came down to kind of like 5 or less, I knew I was starting to become a little bit in trouble. The cheers from the crowd were just insane, and they were keeping me going. I think I would have died a lot quicker had there not been the amazing support on the day. Go on, Cole! Go on, mate! But then when it came down to 3 laps to go, I I was in big trouble. So for anyone wondering why I was kind of holding my chest, pushing my chest out like that, it wasn't because of a stitch or anything like that. It was just because I couldn't breathe, and that felt like the most natural thing that I could do to open my chest cavity out a little bit. So yeah, absolutely no injury or stitches at all. Purely the fact that I was obviously breathing very heavily. I'm just at the end of the 10K race. I do think in hindsight that did maybe indicate to my competitors that I was starting to feel it, and maybe I should have tried to withhold from doing that. But in a race situation, it's so different. It's so difficult, and in hindsight, it's so easy to sit back and go, "Oh, I wish I hadn't done that," or "I wish I'd done that." So yeah, and then just as we came round for the final lap, the winner, Harry Smith, he did the exact classic textbook thing, the thing that everyone should always do if they're going past someone, or they've caught someone up, is just go straight past. And I had absolutely no response. It did make me laugh on the commentary when they said, "Oh, and Cole's just let him go past," as if I had any control. My legs had gone, my brain had gone. If you watch the live stream, you'll see I was kind of weaving a little bit on the back straight just because my legs had caved in. There was nothing there. I didn't really remember much after the last lap because I was just absolutely whacked. But a massive congratulations to Harry Smith and the guy in second, who did manage to get me on that last lap. Tactically, a masterclass from them, really. And I just didn't have any response in the latter stages of the race, which is it's the way it worked. But yeah, they ran it to a T, and I didn't have anything left in that last lap. Would I change anything tactics wise coming out of that race? Initially, straight after the race, so on the day of the race, I was a little bit disappointed, and I was thinking, oh, if only I dug a little bit deeper in that last lap. But it's so easy to kind of forget how you were actually feeling at the time of the race. Like I was absolutely knackered, weaving all over the place. Legs had turned to jelly, brain had turned to jelly. So I think sometimes you just got to be a little bit more kind to yourself and just say, you know what, you've actually put in a shift there, and someone's got the better of you on the day. Those two guys got the better of me on the day, and I'm completely content with that. I ran my heart out from start to finish. I wouldn't change a thing, and I've had one really good 6-week block leading up to this. So imagine what's going to happen in the future if I can string 3 6-week blocks or 4 6-week blocks or whatever it is. Just imagine how much better I'm going to run. So I am absolutely nothing but proud of myself, but also nothing but thankful for everyone that showed up and gave me that support on the day. It was just absolutely incredible. And hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? Had I sat in and just sat on those two guys and left it for the last 3 laps, maybe I would have come second or come first. But would I have ran as quick of a time? Who knows? Did I pull them along? The fact that I was out in front, because those guys had no interest in pushing the pace. It was only in those latter stages when I guess they could see I was dying. So yeah, it's interesting. It's like there's so many different things that go into it. But at the end of the day, it's simple racing. I went for it. I blew up. They caught me up. That's all it kind of boils down to, really. So yeah, absolutely nothing I would change. And the commentators, listening back to the commentary, I absolutely loved listening to it. Just the fact that even though it's kind of like an e-race, I guess, on the night of the 10Ks, just the fact that I'm on British Athletics live stream and they're talking about Cole Gibbons, the YouTube man, like this is going to make for a great video. That was so surreal watching that back, and I must have watched it back 10 to 15 times. It's a little bit difficult watching me, for me, watching those last few laps back, because it did feel like I almost threw it away a little bit. But again, in hindsight, I don't think there's anything else I could have done. And I'm really, really happy with the way that I raced it. And that's racing, right? If I was watching that race, I would have been like, fair fucking play to that lad who took it out, because that takes some cojones. So I think that's what I need to do for myself, is just say, you know what, you've got some balls on you, lad. After the negative experience I had last year of my arrogance, this year to kind of have that faith in myself, I was really happy with that. So, but a humongous thank you to everybody who came down to Parliament Hill, Highgate, and showed the support. It was just absolutely insane. If you told me a year ago that I'd have over 5,000 subscribers, and there'd be people coming down to Highgate to watch me, and they'd be shouting my name all the way around the track, it is just honestly a dream come true. I did have a little cry to myself just because it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, kind of coming away from no PBs for kind of almost 18 months or so, with the struggles that I've been through with mental health and my relationship with food, which are still, ongoing, but definitely in a much, much better place than they have been. Or the best place they've been in a long time. And you guys contribute to that. You give me the confidence, you give me the motivation to get out the door and carry on doing what I'm doing and sharing my story on this silly little platform that is YouTube. And I honestly cannot thank you guys enough. Everyone that showed support, asked for photos, and tunes into the vlogs each week. Honestly, it's making my dream come true. And I did have a little cry to myself because it has been emotional. And just the weight that's been lifted after running a PB finally after about 15, 16 months. It's just absolutely, I can't tell you how much difference it's made to my overall outlook and mental health, I guess. And just the knowledge knowing that what I'm doing is working, even if it's a small gain, just the fact that I'm progressing, it's just a nice feeling, because it was horrible thinking, why am I working so hard each week and getting absolutely nowhere? And just a quick special thank you to my family who will be watching this video. I absolutely love you guys, and you always support me no matter what I do, no matter whether I'm getting way ahead of myself. You always support those dreams and aspirations. So obviously I love you guys, and a massive thank you for coming and supporting me on the day, as you always do. That includes you as well, Grace, even though you weren't there. I know you watched the live stream. And yeah, anyway guys, please like, subscribe, share with your running buddies. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And sorry if the waves have been a bit of a nightmare in the background. Just the seawall blocking a bit of the wind. It's quite a windy day here at Tankerton Seafront. So yeah, without further ado, please like, subscribe, share with your running buddies. And yeah, if it's easy, then what's the point? Come on, Carl! Catch you in the next one.